The black sea of space was quiet. Stars burned far away, like tiny fires in the dark. The human ship's silver wing moved slowly between them. Inside the ship, Captain Ryan stood at the front window, watching the alien planet grow bigger and bigger. It had been many years since the great collapse on Earth. Billions were gone. Cities empty, oceans poisoned. Humans were few now, spread thin on dying colonies. The Council on Earth had sent Ryan on one mission: find help, find life, find a future. The Veyari were the answer. They were not human. But they looked almost like humans. Tall, strong, with strange eyes that glowed faint blue in the dark. They lived on a world of silver mountains and green clouds. They had food, technology, and something even more important: the ability to create life faster than humans could. But there was a condition. The Veyari had agreed to help repopulate human colonies. Yet their tradition was old and strange. From each family of sisters, the human leader must choose only one to join him. One sister to travel with him, live with him, and give children for the future of both races. Ryan had read the rules many times during the long trip, but he had also read something hidden in the old star records. The Veyari were not telling humans everything. There was something about the sisters, something powerful, something dangerous, and Ryan had his own plan. The silver wing entered the thick green clouds. Lightning cracked far below. The planet's surface was a mix of shining lakes and tall silver towers. Alien ships moved in the air like quiet birds. Ryan felt the weight of the mission pressing. On his chest, at the landing platform, a group of Veyari waited. Their clothes were made of silver threads that caught the sun. In the middle stood the two sisters. Ryan's eyes locked on them at once. The older one, Sarai, stood calm. Her long dark hair moved in the wind, her eyes glowing softly. She looked like someone who had seen many years and learned many secrets. Her hands were folded in front of her as if she was ready for anything. The younger one, Lyra, was different. Her hair was white as snow. Cut short, her eyes were brighter. Almost sharp, she shifted her weight, glancing at Ryan, then at the sky, then back again. She looked like she might run or fight at any moment. Ryan stepped down the ramp. The air was warm, filled with the smell of metal and flowers. The leader of the Veyari stepped forward, an old man with silver skin and eyes like crystal water. "Captain Ryan," he said in a slow voice, "welcome to Veyara." Ryan nodded. "I thank you for receiving me." The leader smiled, but it was a careful smile. "You know our law," the leader said. "You will choose one sister and only one to join you." The crowd around them went silent. Some Veyari children peeked from behind tall silver pillars. The sisters stood side by side, not touching, not speaking. Ryan looked from Sarai to Lyra. His mind was calm, but his heart beat faster. He stepped closer to them. He saw how Sarai's eyes followed his every move. He saw how Lyra tilted her head, curious but cautious. He could feel that both were more than they seemed. But Ryan's thoughts were far from choosing one. He thought about Earth's empty cities. He thought about the very strange secrecy. He thought about the danger he had read in the old records, a danger that would come for both humans. And Veyari soon, if he only chose one sister, the other's gift would be lost. And Earth could not afford to lose any gift. The leader spoke again. "When you choose, we will prepare the joining ceremony. The one you choose will be yours to protect and yours to build a future with." Ryan nodded slowly, pretending to think, but inside, his decision was already made, and it was a decision the Veyari would not expect. A warm wind blew across the platform. Somewhere in the distance, a low hum began. It was deep, like the sound of the planet itself breathing. The Veyari around him looked toward the mountains, their faces tight with unease. Ryan noticed it, the way their eyes shifted, the way their bodies tensed. Something was happening. Sarai's calm, Expression did not change, but Lyra's eyes narrowed as she looked toward the same mountains. For a brief moment, Ryan saw a flicker of fear in her face. Then it was gone, replaced by a small, sharp smile. Ryan stood between them. The mission, the law. The choice, all of it felt smaller compared to the storm he could sense behind their eyes. Something told him that whatever waited beyond those mountains would soon come here, and when it did, the choice between one sister and two would matter more than anyone could imagine. The leader spoke again. "Captain Ryan, you may rest, and tomorrow you will choose." Ryan gave a polite nod. But as he followed the Veyari guards toward the shining city, he knew he would not follow their rules. Not tomorrow, not ever, because this was more than a mission. This was survival, and survival needed both. The alien city rose high above the green clouds. Its towers shone like silver glass, and thin bridges linked one spire to another. Strange flying craft moved quietly between them, shaped like glowing wings from the guest quarters of the Silver Wing. Captain Ryan stood at the balcony, looking out at the alien world. He could see the marketplace below. Hundreds of Veyari moving like a flowing river. Their voices were calm, their steps light. But something about their movements felt too careful. Like everyone was pretending not to see something dangerous. Behind him, the door slid open with a soft hiss. It was the younger sister, Lyra. Her bright white hair caught the alien sunlight. She walked in without asking, her eyes scanning the room. "Human rooms are small," she said, her voice fast and sharp. Ryan smiled. "Maybe your world is just big." She didn't answer. Instead, she moved toward the window and leaned out. "You are here to choose, but you already know which one," she said without turning around. Ryan studied her. "And what makes you think that?" Her mouth curved into a half smile. "Because you're looking at me now." Before Ryan could reply, another voice came from the doorway. "You shouldn't be here, Lyra." It was Sci-Fi, the older sister. She stepped in, her long, dark hair falling over her shoulder. Her eyes moved from Lyra to Ryan, then back again. "Tomorrow is the choosing ceremony," Sci-Fi said calmly. "We follow tradition." Lyra laughed softly. "Tradition is just an old chain." Sci-Fi's face stayed calm, but her voice grew colder. "Tradition keeps the peace." Ryan could feel the tension between them, like two different worlds trapped in one room. He gestured for them to sit. Sci-Fi sat straight, her hands folded neatly on her lap. Lyra dropped into the seat with her legs crossed, swinging her foot. For a moment, none of them spoke. Ryan decided to break the silence. "Tell me about your people." Sci-Fi answered first. "We are the Veyari children of the silver sky. We heal, we build, we protect our own. We have lived for 10,000 cycles without war." Her voice was soft but carried weight. Lyra leaned forward. "And we fight too. The Korrath tried to take our world once. The elders tell you stories of peace. But peace is made by those ready to break it when needed." Her eyes glinted like a blade catching light. Ryan listened, his mind racing. Two sisters, two ways of thinking. One believed in keeping the old ways. The other believed in breaking them. Together, they could be unstoppable, but apart, they could be enemies. "Do you want to be chosen?" Ryan asked. Sci-Fi's answer came without hesitation. "If the elders will it, I will serve." Lyra grinned. "I don't wait for others to will anything. If I want something, I take it." The wind outside shifted, and for a second, Ryan thought he heard that deep hum again, the one from the mountains. Both sisters paused and looked toward the horizon. It was only a heartbeat, but Ryan caught it. They knew something. Something they weren't saying. Sci-Fi stood. "It is time we return." Lyra stayed seated. "You go. I want to see more of the human ship." Sci-Fi's eyes tightened, but she left without a word. When she was gone, Lyra turned to Ryan, lowering her voice. They're watching you. Who? Ryan asked. Everyone, she said simply. Because they think you will break the rules, and I hope you do. That night, Ryan could not sleep. The alien city lights glowed outside. He kept thinking about the way Sarai spoke like a guardian of history, and the way Lyra moved like a spark ready to burn the sky. If danger came, and Ryan was sure it would, both would be needed. Choosing only one would be like sealing half a door in a burning house. In the early morning, he walked to the outer balcony from here. He could see the mountains far away, their peaks hidden in green mist. A small flash of light flickered there, then vanished. Ryan's chest tightened. Something was moving in those mountains. Something that might be the reason the elders were so strict about the choosing. The door behind him opened again. This time, it was Sarai. Her steps quiet. You are awake early. She said, couldn't sleep. Ryan replied. She looked toward the mountains. Her face unreadable. The choice you make will change more than your life, she said. Ryan met her gaze. I know Sarai's eyes softened for a moment. Then she turned to leave. Just before the door closed, she added, some rules are older than the stars, but even they can break. Ryan stood alone. The choice was coming fast, but for him, there was no choice at all. He would take both sisters, and no matter what storm it brought, he would face it. The day of the choosing ceremony came with a silver dawn. Alien bells rang through the city, their deep sound rolling across the towers like slow waves. The sky was clear, but the mountains far away were still hidden in green mist. Ryan dressed in the black formal coat the Veyari had given him, its silver edges catching the light. He stepped onto the high platform in the center of the city. Thousands of Veyari stood below, their glowing eyes fixed on him. The elders sat on tall chairs shaped like crescent moons. In front of them stood Sarai and Lyra. They looked calm, but Ryan could feel the tension between them and inside them. The oldest elder stood, his voice carrying through the air without any device. Today, the human leader will make his choice. His words were slow, heavy. From the two sisters, he will choose one. This is the way it has always been. A deep silence followed. Ryan's eyes moved from Sarai to Lyra. Sarai's gaze was steady, unshaken. Lyra's mouth curved into a faint smile, the kind that hid both amusement and danger. The elder turned to Ryan. Step forward. Captain of Earth. Ryan walked to the center of the platform. His heart beat hard, but his mind was cold and clear. He thought of Earth's empty streets, of the green flash in the mountains, of the strange hum that seemed to live in the air here. He knew the truth. Choosing only one would leave the other behind, and leaving one behind meant losing half of what might save both their worlds. I have made my choice, Ryan said. A ripple moved through the crowd. The elder nodded. Speak it, so all will hear. Ryan looked at Sarai first, then Lyra. I choose both, he said. For a moment, there was no sound. Then the crowd exploded. Shouts, gasps, sharp voices calling out in the Veyari tongue. The elders rose to their feet, their silver robes shaking with movement. The eldest elder's voice boomed. This is against the law of sisters. Ryan stood firm. Then the law is wrong. Gasps again. Louder this time. You cannot take both. Another elder hissed. Ryan's voice was steady. If I take only one, fourth our peoples will lose. I will not make that mistake. The ground beneath the platform gave a slow, deep vibration. It was the same hum Ryan had heard before, but stronger now. It felt like it was coming from under the city itself. The Veyari looked around, unease growing in their faces. Sarai's calm eyes moved to Ryan, and for the first time, there was something else there. Relief. Lyra tilted her head, her smile widening. You really are going to break everything, she whispered, just loud enough for him to hear. The eldest elder raised his hand. guards before the command could finish. A sharp sound cracked through the air. It was like stones splitting in half. From the sky above, a streak of dark metal fell fast. Breaking through the clouds, it hit the far edge of the city with a flash of fire and a shockwave that rattled the platform. Screams rose from the crowd. More streaks began to fall. Not from nature, but from ships. Korrath ships, black and jagged like blades. Ryan recognized them from his reports. They had been silent for years, but now they were here. Get them to safety. Sci-Fi shouted to the guards, but the guards hesitated, torn between obeying her and obeying the elders. Lyra stepped forward. I can fight them now, or we can all wait to die. Ryan turned to the elders. This is why I need both. One alone is strong, but together they can stop this. The eldest elder's face was pale now, its eyes darting to the burning smoke on the horizon. Finally, he gave a small, stiff nod. Go, he said, his voice heavy, but you carry the weight of what you break. Ryan didn't wait. He grabbed Sarai's hand in one and Lyra's in the other. Pulling them toward the edge of the platform, the Silver Wing was already powering up, its engines glowing bright. The sisters ran beside him, their steps perfectly in time despite everything. As they reached the ship, another Korrath strike hit the far market, sending silver dust and fire into the air. Ryan pushed them inside, sealing the hatch. Sarai went straight to the med station, her hands glowing as she healed a wounded crew member. Lyra ran to the weapons console, her fingers curling, bending the ship's metal plating into new shapes for defense. The Silver Wing lifted off. Rising through the chaos, Ryan's hands gripped the controls, his jaw tight. Below, the city burned, the silver towers turning red in the light of fire. The choice had been made, the law had been broken, and the war had just begun. The Silver Wing tore through the green clouds. Behind it, the alien city burned in flashes of silver and red. Korrath ships followed close, black, sharp, and fast. Ryan kept his hands tight on the controls, weaving through the air currents, shields at 60%. A crew member shouted. Lyra was already at the weapons console, her white hair flying as her hands moved fast. She pulled metal from the ship's interior walls, bending it with her mind into sharp spikes that launched from hidden ports. Each spike flew like a spear, hitting enemy ships with force strong enough to punch through their armor. Sarai stood at the center of the room, her hands glowing blue. Her light flowed into the ship's systems, repairing cracks and sealing burns in the hull. Sweat lined her forehead, but her eyes stayed calm. She can't keep this up forever. One crewman said under his breath. Ryan heard him, but he didn't answer. The hum was still there, faint but steady. Ryan had felt it since they left the city. It was not the ship, it was deeper, older, and the sisters seemed to feel it too, though neither spoke of it. The Silver Wing broke free of the clouds. Space opened around them, dark and endless. But the Korrath ships followed, their engines glowing red like hot coals. Engaging jump drive, Ryan called. The navigation screen lit up with coordinates for the human colony on New Horizon. Before he could activate it, a warning flashed. Interference detected. What now? He muttered. Sarai's voice was quiet but sharp. They're using a gravity snare. It's pulling us back toward the planet. Ryan cursed under his breath. Lyra smirked. Then we cut the snare. Her fingers curled, and the ship groaned. As the outer plating shifted, reshaping into a thin, long blade of metal, she launched it straight into the empty space where the snare signal came from. A spark burst, and the pull on the ship vanished. Jump drive ready, Ryan said. Do it. Lyra shouted. The stars outside blurred, and the Silver Wing ripped into hyperspace. Leaving the burning world behind, hyperspace was quiet. The hum faded, replaced by the deep, slow pulse of the ship's engines. Ryan leaned back in his chair. his muscles tight from the fight. The crew began checking systems, patching damage, and calming their breathing. In the quiet, the tension between the sisters grew clearer. Sci-Fi sat at the med station, tending to a young pilot with a burned arm. Her movements were precise, her face calm. Lyra stood nearby, pacing like a caged animal. "You could have fought harder," Lyra said suddenly. Sci-Fi didn't look up. "I fought as needed. You call that needed?" "Half the city is gone." Sci-Fi's voice stayed level. "If I had fought as you do, more would have died, including you." Lyra stepped closer, her eyes sharp. "You think you're above me because you follow rules." Sci-Fi finally looked at her, "and you think breaking them makes you strong, but it makes you reckless." Ryan stood between them before the words could turn to action. "Enough," he said, his tone hard. "We left together. We survived together. Save your fight for the Korrath." The sisters didn't reply, but Ryan could see it too. Storms inside the same ship, and he knew that one day those storms might collide. Hours passed. The ship neared the halfway point in New Horizon. Then the sensors beeped. Ryan checked the screen, his jaw tightened. 3 Korrath ships were ahead, waiting in the dark. "They must have tracked us," Sci-Fi said, her voice low. "Or they knew where we'd run." Lyra added, her smile thin. Ryan turned the ship. But more Korrath ships appeared behind them. "They were trapped. They're hurting us," Ryan realized. "To where?" One crewman asked. Ryan didn't answer. He already suspected. There were rumors of dead zones in space, places where no ship returned. The Korrath closed in. Lyra's hands went to the weapons, metal shaping under her will. Sci-Fi moved to shield the ship again, light growing around her fingertips. Ryan pushed the engines to their limit, diving toward a dense asteroid field. The Korrath followed. But the narrow gaps between rocks slowed them. Lyra's metal spears hit 2 of them, sending the ships spinning into stone. Sci-Fi's light shielded the silver wing from the debris. The crew moved like one, but Ryan knew this was only a delay. The Korrath wouldn't stop until they had the sisters. They broke free of the asteroid field. The jump drive was still recharging. Ryan stared at the dark space ahead. In the distance, a faint light shimmered, not from a star, but something else. It pulsed slowly, like the hum he'd felt before. Sci-Fi stepped beside him, her voice soft. "That is not a place for humans." Lyra appeared on his other side, her eyes bright. "Which means it's exactly where we should go." Ryan's hands tightened on the controls. Every instinct told him to avoid it, but every mission need told him to push forward. The Korrath. "We're closing again." Ryan made his choice. The silver wing turned toward the strange light. Engines burning hot. Whatever waited there, he would face it with both sisters at his side. The strange light grew larger in the silver wing's window. It was not a star, not a planet. It was something alive. It pulsed like a heartbeat, slow and heavy, sending waves of faint hum through the ship. Ryan felt it in his bones, the same vibration he'd heard back on Veyara. The Korrath ships were close behind, but they slowed as they neared the light. Their formation broke, some holding back, others circling. It was as if even they feared to come closer. "What is that?" Ryan asked. Sci-Fi's eyes stayed on the pulsing glow. "It's an ancient place, older than your world, older than mine." Lyra smirked. "A graveyard for cowards." Sci-Fi turned to her. "It's a prison." Ryan looked between them. "A prison? For what?" Sci-Fi's voice was soft, for something that should never be free. Before he could ask more, the light changed. It flared. And for a moment Ryan saw shapes moving inside it, not solid, but shadows with form. Then the ship's sensors screamed unidentified signal detected source. Inside the anomaly a voice came through the comms. Not Korrath, not human, not Veyari. It was deep, layered, like many voices speaking at once. Give us the keys. And live, it said. Ryan frowned. Keys. Sarai's hands clenched, her calm breaking for the first time. They mean us. The Korrath moved in again. Their ships forming a net around the silver wing. One of their come signals cut through. It was a tall, scaled figure with burning red eyes. Human, the Korrath commander said, his voice like grinding metal. You carry what belongs to us. They don't belong to anyone, Ryan said. The commander's teeth flashed. The sisters are not just Veyari. They are the last of the Starbinders. Lyra tilted her head. I like the sound of that. Sarai ignored her. Her eyes locked on the Korrath. The Starbinders ended your last war. Korrath, you fear us, the commander hissed. We do not fear. We claim. Ryan tightened his grip on the controls. You're not claiming anything. The Korrath ships began firing short, sharp bursts, meant to disable, not destroy. Sarai's hands lit up, forming a shimmering shield over the silver wing. Lyra shaped the ship's weapons, bending metal into jagged discs that spun fast before launching. Each one sliced through Korrath armor, sparks bursting in the black void, but more ships appeared. Dozens now, closing in. They're stalling us, Ryan realized. For what? A crewman asked. Lyra's smile faded, for whatever's in that light. The pulsing glow ahead grew brighter. The hum shook the ship's frame. Ryan's sensors showed massive energy spikes. Something was waking. Sarai's voice was tense. Now that prison holds the Warden, a machine older than memory, built to guard the Starforge. If the Korrath break it free, it will obey them, and no world will be safe. Ryan's mind raced. Then we stop them here, he said. The sisters looked at each other. Lyra nodded. Finally, Sarai sighed. This will break more than the Korrath. Ryan pushed the silver wing forward, straight toward the light. The Korrath tried to block them, but Lyra's metal weapons ripped holes in their formation. Sarai's shield flared bright, reflecting enemy blasts back at their ships. The crew worked in silence, each movement fast, precise, desperate. As they neared the anomaly, the hum became a roar inside the light. The shadow shapes grew clearer, towering forms of silver and black, moving in slow, deliberate patterns. The comes burst again with the layered voice, 2 keys, 1 choice. Open or burn. Ryan didn't know what it meant, but the sisters did. It wants us to unlock the forge, Lyra said, almost eager. Sarai shook her head. It's a trap once opened. It cannot be closed. Lyra smirked. Sometimes. You leave the door open so you can burn what's inside. The Korrath commander's voice cut in again. Human, give them to us, and your world will be spared. Ryan's answer was instant. No deal. The Korrath opened full fire. The silver wing shook, alarms blaring. One engine went dark, but Ryan kept control, weaving toward the anomaly. Lyra's weapons burned through 2 more enemy ships. Sarai's shield dimmed, cracks showing as her energy drained. Then the anomaly flared white. A massive shape began to emerge, metallic, spiked, and impossibly large. It moved like a living thing, its many eyes glowing cold blue. Sarai whispered. The Warden. The Korrath turned their guns away from the silver wing and toward the Warden. They weren't trying to destroy it. They were feeding it power. Ryan's stomach tightened. They're waking it. The Warden's voice filled the comms. Who calls me? The Korrath commander answered proudly. We do. Serve us and burn the Starbinders. The Warden paused, then its many eyes turned toward the silver wing. Keys detected, it said. Ryan looked at the sisters. Sarai's glow returned, Lyra's eyes lit with challenge. Ryan knew whatever happened next, the fight was about to change completely. The Warden's massive frame drifted fully out of the glowing anomaly. Its armor was dark silver, scarred from battles older than history. Each movement sent slow waves through the void. Its voice came again, deep and heavy. Keys. Unlock. Ryan gripped the controls. The Korrath ship swarmed around the giant. Feeding it streams of energy, sparks of power leaped from their weapons into the warden's body. The giant's many eyes glowed brighter with each surge. Veyari stepped forward. Her face pale but steady. If it binds to them, they will control the Starforge. Every weapon, every ship it can build. Lyra's grin was sharp. Then we break the binding. Veyari glanced at her. It will take both of us and him. She nodded toward Ryan. Ryan didn't hesitate. Tell me what to do. Veyari's voice was calm but quick. Get us close to its core, past the armor plates, near the central eye. Lyra's tone was wilder. And keep the Korrath busy while we shut it down. Ryan pushed the silver wing forward, weaving between enemy fire. Lyra reshaped the ship's hull mid-flight, creating curved plates to deflect blasts. Veyara stood with her hands pressed to the floor, sending a steady stream of energy into the shields. The crew worked without words. Every second mattered. The Korrath commander's voice cut through the comms. Human, this is your last chance. Hand them over or burn with them. Ryan smirked without humor. You'll have to try harder. The warden turned toward them. One massive arm moved with impossible speed for its size. A beam of white light shot from its central eye. Ryan rolled the silver wing hard to the left. The beam passing so close, the ship's hull screamed under the heat. They reached the warden's armor. Up close, its surface looked like an endless wall of moving plates, shifting and sliding like muscles under skin. Ryan guided the ship into a narrow gap between the plates. Metal scraped the sides, sparks bursting in the dark. Inside the gap, everything was shadow and pulsing blue veins of light. The hum here was deafening. Pressing against Ryan's chest, Veyari's voice was low, but firm. This close. We can link, but we will need your focus too. Lyra grinned. Hope you like sharing your mind. Captain. They both stepped to the center of the bridge and placed their hands on his shoulders. Cold and heat hit Ryan at once. Suddenly, he could see flashes that weren't his. A silver city under attack. A burning star falling into itself. A machine turning its gaze toward him. Their voices were in his head. Guide us to the core. Veyari's voice was calm, and keep us alive doing it. Lyra's voice was fierce. Ryan followed the glowing blue lines through the warden's inner armor. The ship dove deeper, avoiding sudden slams from the giant's shifting plates. Outside, the Korrath tried to follow, but the warden's own movements crushed two of their ships in seconds. The core appeared, a sphere of blinding white light suspended in a cage of black metal. It pulsed like a living heart. Veyari's glow flared, matching the pulse. Lyra's hands clenched, shaping invisible threads of metal around the cage. The warden's voice shook the air. Keys detected inside. Override binding. Initiate. The ship trembled as the giant tried to take control of them. Ryan felt his thoughts pulling away, his hands moving against his will. Veyari's voice cut through the haze. Stay with us. Ryan, anchor us. He gritted his teeth, holding on to the thought of Earth's empty cities, the faces that still waited for hope. The sisters worked as one, Veyari pouring raw life energy into the core, Lyra twisting the black metal cage into new shapes. The light grew unstable, its pulse turning chaotic. The warden roared, a sound that shook every bone in Ryan's body. Its massive hands reached inward, trying to crush them. Now? Lyra shouted. Ryan slammed the ship forward, right into the core's light. For a second, the world went white. There was no sound, no movement, just the hum. Now, faster, almost like a heartbeat running out of time. Then the light burst outward in a shockwave. The silver wing was thrown clear. Spinning away from the warden, through the front window, Ryan saw the giant freeze, its eyes dimming. The Korrath ships broke formation, some fleeing, others drifting powerless. The warden's voice came one last time, softer now. Keys, free. Then it went still, its massive frame drifting into the dark. The sisters let go of Ryan's shoulders, both breathing hard. Lyra gave a sharp laugh. Well, that was fun. Sarai managed a tired smile. It was dangerous. Ryan looked at both of them. It was necessary, but even as they spoke, sensors lit up again. More Korrath ships were coming from the far edge of the system. They hadn't won yet. The Silver Wing turned toward open space, engines burning bright. The final fight and their future waited just ahead. The Silver Wing raced through the dark behind them. The wreck of the Warden drifted silently, its eyes forever dark, but more Korrath ships were on the way, their faint red engines glowing in the distance. Ryan kept his hands steady on the controls. Guiding the ship toward the safe jump point, the sisters stood on either side of him. Sarai's calm glow had dimmed, but her eyes were steady. Lyra's grin was still there. Though her movements were slower now, both were tired, but neither looked ready to stop. They won't let this go. Ryan said quietly. Sarai nodded. They have seen what we can do together. They will fear it. Lyra tilted her head. Good. The crew worked quickly, repairing damaged systems, sealing cracked panels. Every so often, the ship shuddered from a distant shockwave. The battle in the system wasn't over, but they had no time to stay. Finally, the jump drive lit green. Ryan pulled the lever. The stars stretched, then snapped into the swirling blue of hyperspace. For the first time in hours, the crew breathed easier. They emerged near the human colony of New Horizon. It hung in space like a jewel, its rings of light circling a green and blue planet. Shuttles moved back and forth between orbiting stations. It was alive, but still small compared to the home Earth had once been. Ryan opened the comm channel. This is Captain Ryan, of the Silver Wing, returning from Veyara. The voice on the other end sounded shocked. We thought you were lost. Reports of a Korrath fleet. Ryan cut in. We met them, and we survived. We're bringing back more than you expected. When? The ship docked. A crowd gathered in the bay. Human settlers, soldiers, engineers, all staring as the ramp lowered. Ryan stepped out first, the sisters walking behind him. Gasps spread through the crowd when they saw the glowing eyes, the silver-threaded clothes, the calm and wild beauty. Of the two, Ryan spoke clearly. This is Sarai. This is Lyra. They are here to help rebuild our future. The people didn't cheer. Not yet. They were cautious, staring at the aliens. Wondering if they could be trusted, Sarai stepped forward first. She raised her hands and let a wave of soft light move over the closest settlers. Wounds healed. Tired eyes brightened. Aches faded. Gasps turned into murmurs of wonder. Then Lyra moved. She picked up a piece of broken docking equipment. Her hands twisted slightly. The metal bent and shaped itself into a perfect working tool. She handed it to the nearest engineer with a grin. Better than new. The crowd began to smile. Someone clapped. Then more joined, until the whole docking bay was filled with the sound. Later, in the colony council room, Ryan stood before the leaders. Some were impressed, some still wary. You broke a treaty rule by bringing one counselor said sharply. Ryan didn't look away. I broke it because the rule was wrong. If I had chosen one, Earth would have half the power it needs. To survive, the Korrath would have taken the other, and we would all be dead. Another leader leaned forward. And what stops the Korrath from coming here now? Ryan's voice was firm. Us, all of us, and the fact that now we have the means to fight them. Not just with ships and weapons, but with healing, with creation, with unity. Sarai stepped forward. We are not here to rule. We are here to stand beside you. Lyra smirked. And to make sure no one messes with what's ours. The room was silent for a long moment. Then the council head nodded slowly. Very well. You've earned the right to prove this works. That Knight Ryan stood on the balcony of the colony's tallest tower below him. The lights of New Horizons spread like a small sea of stars. Sirai stood beside him, watching quietly. Lyra leaned on the rail, eyes scanning the sky. "They'll come again," Ryan said. Ciri's voice was soft. "Yes, but next time, we'll be ready," Lyra grinned, "and maybe we'll take the fight to them." Ryan looked at both of them. They were more than allies now. More than just part of a mission. They were family. Strange, powerful, unpredictable. But his family, all the same, far above. A streak of red light moved in the distance, too far to be a threat, but close enough to remind him that peace was only a pause. He didn't mind. This was only the beginning, and when the next storm came, he would face it with both sisters by his side, no matter the law, no matter the danger. Because survival wasn't about following rules, it was about breaking the right ones.